Have you ever had your entire life collapse without a single word being spoken? No screaming, no confession, no dramatic exit. Just a screen lighting up and everyone realizing the truth at the same time. Today's story isn't about catching someone cheating. It's about what happens after, when betrayal isn't whispered in private, but exposed in front of the people who mattered most. A woman, a marriage of 6 years, and a truth that couldn't be unseen once it appeared. Stay with me, because this isn't a story about revenge. It's about what it costs to walk away when staying would destroy who you are. Before we continue, if you're drawn to slow burn stories about betrayal, quiet strength, and the moment someone finally chooses themselves, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It really helps this channel reach people who need to hear stories like this one. Let's get into the story. I never thought technology would be the thing that ended my marriage. Not a confession, not a suspicious lipstick stain, not another woman showing up at the door. It was a television, a 65-inch screen mounted on the wall of our living room. Too big, too bright, impossible to look away from. It was Sunday night. My parents were visiting from out of state, staying with us for the week. The kind of visit that required planning, effort, pretending everything was stable. My husband had been looking forward to it for weeks. He'd talked about this dinner like it mattered, like it proved something about us. We invited my younger brother and his girlfriend too. A full table, good food, easy laughter. The version of family life you convince yourself means everything is fine. And for a while it was. Dinner went smoothly. Compliments were exchanged. My husband looked relieved, even proud, when everyone cleaned their plates. Afterward, we moved to the living room for coffee and dessert. My dad launched into one of his long, winding stories. Something about a neighbor's boat, the details unnecessary but familiar. My mom listened politely, coffee cup warming her hands. My husband's phone rested face up on the coffee table. I didn't think twice about it. He stepped into the kitchen to grab more cream. I remember noticing how quiet the room suddenly felt, like the air had tightened. Then the TV turned on. At first, I thought it was a glitch, a screensaver, maybe a stray tap. We'd connected phones to the TV before to show photos, videos, harmless things. This wasn't harmless. A messaging app filled the screen. A contact name appeared at the top. Megan. Jim. The first message popped up. Still thinking about Thursday. You were incredible. My brother saw it first. His body went completely still. His girlfriend let out a small, sharp breath. My mom froze mid-sip, her cup suspended in the air. I stared at the screen, my mind lagging behind my eyes. Another message appeared. Does your wife really not know? Babe, we've been doing this for months. The room fell silent, except for my dad's voice tapering off as he realized something was wrong. That's when my husband walked back in. He followed everyone's gaze to the screen. I watched the color drain from his face, not tears, not panic, just shock, like someone had knocked the breath out of him. His jaw tightened. His hands clenched once at his sides instinctively, like he was bracing for impact. A third message appeared. Thursday was so good. You're way more fun than your wife. The truth filled the room in unforgiving clarity. And in that moment, before anyone spoke, before denial or excuses or explanations, I understood something with terrifying calm. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't salvageable. This was the end of my marriage, broadcast in front of my entire family. I met my husband 6 years ago, back when life still felt like something you built slowly, brick by brick, without realizing how fragile the structure really was. We were introduced through mutual friends at a casual get-together. Nothing dramatic. No instant fireworks. He wasn't the loudest person in the room, and I wasn't trying to be noticed. We talked in the corner about work, about how neither of us liked crowded bars, about how we both preferred routines over chaos. It felt easy, grounded, safe. He was steady in a way that made me relax without noticing it, the kind of man who showed up when he said he would, who answered texts, who planned ahead. After a few dates, he started calling instead of texting. After a few months, he cleared a drawer in his apartment for my things without making a big deal of it. It wasn't a whirlwind romance. It was better. We built habits before dreams. Sunday mornings with coffee and no agenda. Grocery shopping that turned into debates over pasta sauce brands. Evenings on the couch where silence didn't feel awkward. It felt earned. When he proposed, it wasn't flashy. No crowd, no performance. Just us. A quiet evening. His voice steady when he asked. I didn't hesitate. I said yes, because I believed in what we were building, not because of some fantasy version of marriage. The wedding was small. Family, close friends, Nothing excessive. I remember looking at him across the room, thinking how calm he looked, how sure. Like this was exactly where he was meant to be. The first few years of marriage felt like momentum. We bought the house together 3 years in, both our names on the mortgage, both of us nervous and excited, signing papers that suddenly made everything feel permanent. We talked about remodeling the kitchen someday, maybe traveling more once work settled down. We didn't have kids, not because we didn't want them, just because there was always a reason to wait. Careers, timings, stability. We told ourselves we were being responsible. Looking back, I wonder if waiting became a way to avoid asking harder questions. Our days fell into a rhythm. Work, dinner, TV, bed. Weekends meant errands, and the occasional dinner out. Nothing was wrong. Nothing was on fire, but nothing was growing either. Still, I thought that was normal. He started going to the gym more regularly about a year and a half ago. At first, I encouraged it. He said he wanted to get stronger, feel better, clear his head after work. It seemed healthy, productive. He came home tired but energized, talking about routines, soreness, progress. I noticed changes, but I framed them as positive. He cared more about his appearance, bought new workout clothes, checked his phone more often, especially after gym sessions. I told myself I was reading into things. Married people were allowed their own spaces. When he smiled at messages and angled the screen away from me, I didn't confront him. I trusted him. Our intimacy shifted slowly. Nothing abrupt enough to alarm me, just less frequent, less curious, less connected. He blamed stress. I blamed routine. We both blamed time. Family dinners like that Sunday night became important to me without my fully realizing why. They felt like proof that we were still solid, that whatever quiet distance had crept in wasn't real enough to matter. That if our parents could sit around our table, laughing, eating food we'd cooked together, then everything must still be okay. I didn't know that while I was setting the table, practicing polite smiles, believing in the story of us, my marriage had already started unraveling somewhere else. And I had no idea how long it had been happening. The first warning signs didn't arrive as alarms. They came as adjustments, small, reasonable shifts that made sense if you didn't look at them too closely. My husband's gym schedule became non-negotiable. It wasn't just a routine anymore. It was protected time. If I suggested dinner a little earlier, he'd say he couldn't rush his workout. If my parents wanted to grab dessert nearby, he'd glance at the clock, distracted, already half gone. He never raised his voice about it. He didn't need to. The firmness was enough. I told myself discipline was attractive. He started showering the moment he got home. Not after a snack. Not after we talked about our days. Straight to the bathroom, door locked, water running. I'd hear his phone buzz from the counter outside and pretend not to notice. When he came out, relaxed and dry, he'd pick it up like nothing had happened. "Who was that?" I asked once casually. "Group chat," he said, without looking at me. I didn't ask which one. At night, he kept his phone on silent, face down, a habit he'd never had before. If it lit up, he'd flip it quickly, like it was instinct, not intention. I watched those movements out of the corner of my eye, the way you notice patterns without admitting you're tracking them. I started filling in explanations for him. He was stressed. He needed space. Marriage settled into phases. Sometimes he'd come home energized, in a way that didn't match the workout he described. Not tired, not sore, just alert, like something had switched on. He'd talk more, smile more, then pull away the moment I leaned into it, like he'd already spent whatever he had to give somewhere else. I noticed the smell first. Not sweat, not soap. A faint, unfamiliar fragrance. Clean, sharp, not mine. I told myself Jim smelled like that. Detergent, air freshener, other people. When I asked how long he'd been training with the same group, he hesitated for half a second too long before answering. "A while," he said. "Why?" "No reason." And that was true. I didn't have a reason yet. Just a collection of moments that hadn't lined up. Family started commenting before I did. My mom asked if everything was okay between us, her voice light but her eyes searching. My brother joked that my husband seemed busy these days. I laughed it off. Protected him. Protected us. Because naming the problem felt more dangerous than ignoring it. One night, I reached for him in bed and felt him tense before he relaxed. It was subtle, but I noticed. He kissed my forehead instead of my mouth and turned away, already halfway asleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, counting breaths, listening to his even rhythm beside me, wondering how someone could feel so close and so far at the same time. I considered checking his phone. The thought startled me. I wasn't that person. I'd never been. Trust had always been the foundation of everything between us. Going through his messages felt like crossing a line I wouldn't be able to uncross. So I didn't. Instead, I started paying attention to how often his gym sessions ran late, to how his stories came prepackaged, polished, without details, to how he talked about people instead of names. I told myself if something was wrong, it would announce itself, that real problems didn't hide behind politeness. I had no idea how wrong that was, because the truth wasn't loud. It was patient, and it was already finding its way into the center of our lives, one quiet adjustment at a time. No one spoke at first. The room felt sealed shut, like the air itself was waiting for instructions. My father's story died halfway through a sentence. My mother's hand trembled as she lowered her coffee cup, porcelain clicking too loudly in the silence. I kept my eyes on the TV, not because I wanted to read the messages again, but because if I looked at my husband, I might shatter something I couldn't put back together. "That's not," he started. The screen refreshed. Another message queued up. "Keep reading," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. It was steady, detached. He moved fast then, stepping toward the table, grabbing his phone, disconnecting it from the TV. The screen went black. Too late. Everyone had seen enough. My brother stood immediately, pulling his girlfriend up without a word. She wouldn't look at either of us. My mother rose slowly, pale, eyes glassy, but dry. "I think we should go," my father said quietly. "I'm sorry," I said. "Dinner's over." They left in silence. My mother paused at the door, looked at my husband, then at me. She said nothing. The door closed. It was just the two of us. "It's not what you think," he said. I laughed once, short, sharp. "Your girlfriend just texted you on a 65-inch screen in front of my parents," I said. "Which part am I misunderstanding?" "She's not my girlfriend," he snapped. "We're just—" "She called you babe," I cut in. "Mentioned Thursday. Said this has been going on for months." He went quiet. "Yes," he said finally. "I've been seeing her." There it was. No apology, no confession, just fact. "Why?" he added, defensive now. "Because we're boring. Nothing happens anymore." "So you decided to make something happen at the gym." "Don't say it like that." "That's literally where you met her." His shoulders sagged. "She made me feel alive again." Something detached inside me. I went to the bedroom and started packing. "You can't just leave," he said. "We need to talk." "We just did," I said. "On the TV, in front of my family." He grabbed my arm. I pulled away. "Please, therapy. I'll stop seeing her." "My mother watched another woman call you babe," I said. "There is no fixing that." "It was one mistake." "How long?" "A few months." I picked up his tablet, still unlocked. Scrolled. "This goes back almost a year," I said. Silence. I finished packing. "Where are you going?" "My brother's." "You're abandoning me?" "You didn't seem worried about that when you weren't coming home alone." I drove away. My brother didn't ask questions. He gave me a room. Silence. Space. My phone filled with messages. Apologies turned into blame. Guilt followed. I sent one text. "I've spoken to a lawyer. Please don't contact me again." Then I turned my phone off. I went back to the house once while he was at work. Packed clothes, documents, avoided the bed. I checked the tablet again. Took screenshots. Sent them to myself. That afternoon, his mother called. "You need to come home and fix this." "He cheated on me for over a year," I said. "Marriages take work." He made choices. I blocked her. His best friend showed up days later, asked me to forgive him. "He built a second life," I said. She left angry. I wasn't reacting anymore. I was deciding. I hired a lawyer. "Save everything," he said. We went through finances. Separate checking accounts helped. The house didn't. Then the mortgage notice came. He'd stopped paying his half. I covered it to protect my credit. He tried to withdraw from our joint savings. The bank blocked it. His lawyer accused me of financial abuse. Then he started calling my office. Crying, accusing, begging. I went to HR, blocked him professionally. Then he crossed a line. He booked an appointment at my brother's girlfriend's salon under a fake name and talked about me the entire time. My lawyer sent a cease and desist. That's when I stopped playing defense. I dug deeper into the messages. And I found it. Her full name. Married. 2 kids. Family photos. I asked myself one question. What am I protecting? I created a burner email. "I don't know if you're aware, but your wife has been having an affair with my husband for over a year. I found out recently. I have proof if you need it." I attached screenshots. Then I sent it. 2 days later, my husband called screaming. "You ruined everything." "No," I said. "I told the truth." The silence afterward was heavy. I grieved quietly. Not him, but the life I believed in. One night, holding one of his old shirts, I broke. Not anger, grief. And for a moment, I wondered if peace mattered more than dignity. It didn't. Staying would have destroyed me. The judge denied his lawyer's motion. Truth wasn't harassment. For the first time, I wasn't bracing. I was standing. I started planning again. Apartments, furniture, a future without him. The divorce finalized quickly. House sold, equity split. Savings split. Alimony ordered. 18 months, automatic transfer. At court, he asked for closure. You got an affair, I said. I got a TV screen. Divorce granted. Later, I learned Megan's husband left her, took the kids. Everyone knew. My husband blamed me. You and Megan ruined 2 families, I said. I just stopped lying for you. When things finally went quiet, relief came softly. I'm still at my brother's place, looking for something small, mine. The payments are automatic, temporary. Work is steady. My parents call again like before. I'm not dating. I'm learning who I am without shrinking. Here's what I know now. Loyalty doesn't require silence. Forgiveness doesn't require self-erasure. And love that asks you to ignore reality isn't love. The truth didn't save my marriage. It saved me. I got out. I got my voice back. I'm not angry, not bitter, just awake. And that is the real ending.